Most guys do not realize it, but their testosterone is slowly dropping. And it's not even because of age, it's because of lifestyle. And people don't realize how much of an impact your testosterone levels have on your life. Less testosterone equals less muscle growth, less energy, less motivation in the gym and overall in life. But the good news is you can fix it naturally. You don't need supplements or injections or testosterone, synthesized testosterone. You don't need any of that. These are my levels from about 4 years ago. I was literally 16 and my testosterone was at a pretty good level, especially my free testosterone. So now 3-4 years later, now that I've built a lot more muscle, I feel a lot better, I get a much better, more consistent sleep schedule. I know for a fact that my testosterone is way higher and I haven't even tested it yet. So today I want to go over 10 easiest ways to boost your testosterone so you can get better energy, better gains in the gym, and you can start feeling like a man again. From how you sleep, how you recover, how you train, all these things play a role and how you feel and especially how your physique looks. So number one, if you can only take one thing out of this video, improve your sleep. Even back then, whenever my testosterone was around 500 nanograms per deciliter, I had a very inconsistent sleep schedule. I wasn't tracking my sleep with this Oura ring. Now that I have a much better control of my environment, of my schedule, I get 7 to 8, maybe sometimes 9 hours of quality sleep per night, and I feel much better, much more energized. I have more motivation. I find it easier to stay sharp and focused. And why? Because this is where testosterone spikes. This is how and where your body creates testosterone. So instead of getting less than 7 hours of sleep per night, which can decrease your testosterone levels by around 10 to 15%, like most people, like most men will, try to get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. And that means cutting out any kind of distractions after 9, 10 p.m. depending on what your sleep schedule looks like. Even if you're a night owl or even if you work maybe night shift, that kind of thing, you still want to get a really good consistent sleep schedule, because you're better off having a good consistent sleep schedule and getting a little bit less sleep than some days getting 9 to 10 hours of sleep and then other days getting 5 hours of sleep. Number two, when it comes to training, you really want to lift heavy but smart. I used to always make the mistake of going as heavy as possible when it came to my compound movements. That's something that I really want to touch on. Compound movements has to be the core of every single workout. Every single workout, the first thing you want to do is your compound exercises, because you want to start off fresh, especially on a leg day. Doing heavy squats, heavy RDLs, all of these are natural testosterone boosters. People don't realize it. And if you do first your isolation exercises, you're not gonna have the same energy. You're not gonna push as hard as if you start off with those compound exercises first. However, when it comes to specifically compound exercises, and I would even go ahead and encourage this on isolation movements, stick to a 6 to 10 rep range. Getting close to failure, but not always going to failure, especially if you are the kind of guy that knows how to train hard, you like to go intense. All of this used to be myself. However, there has to be a sweet spot. There is a clear line, and you really want to train hard with high intensity to stimulate muscle growth, but there is a very fine line for everything, right guys? You don't want to overdo it to the point where it's going to affect your ability to recover and to hit your next workout. Sometimes I will hit a super heavy leg day. I will be so sore the next day, and even the next day after that, that it will just affect every single workout after that, and you really do not want that. You want to reach close to failure, not every single set. 1 or 2 sets maybe in a workout, or maybe half of the sets in your workout reach failure. But that is it, especially with your compound exercises. That is going to stimulate as much muscle growth without the extra fatigue, without the extra downside. Number 3, stress and cortisol levels. I know this might sound wishy-washy and kind of like bro science. However, managing your stress definitely can and will have a significant effect on your testosterone levels. What I do to manage stress, apart from obviously hitting the gym, lifting hard, I like to meditate. I like to hit the sauna after a workout. I like to go on a run or do my cardio. All these things are the best, simplest way to manage your stress. There's a lot of, you can get into it. You can get into like rabbit holes, but I would really just recommend doing or picking one of the few things that I mentioned here. More optimally, you really want to pair it with something that is physical, right? An exercise activity, that kind of thing. And that's going to be the best way to manage your stress, because if you're going to bed very, very highly stressed, you don't manage this will affect your sleep, then your recovery, and you're overall not going to have high testosterone levels. Number 4, there is a reason why, whether you do keto or low carb or any kind of diet, no diet will ever take out fats, and more specifically healthy fats. I personally don't always eat fats in my meals because they're higher in calories. However, you can supplement with something like fish oils, which will also play the same similar role as getting healthy fats from, say, avocados or salmon, fatty fish, that kind of thing. But like I was saying, fats in your diet play a big role when it comes to hormone production and balancing, and more specifically testosterone, the main male hormone that we're speaking about in this whole video. So don't take out fats from your diet. Keep them at a good range, typically between 30-70 grams, depending on how big, how much muscle you have. But yeah, you really want to experiment with that. It goes, can vary from person to person, but never completely take out carbs from your diet. Number 5, another quick supplement, and I understand that I did mention that, of course, the number one thing that's going to increase your testosterone is natural forms of testosterone production, like I said, lifting heavy, getting enough sleep. However, it doesn't mean that you cannot take supplements into account as well. Supplementing with vitamin D also plays a very big role when it comes to your body's ability to generate testosterone. Of course, vitamin D is the most natural way to get it is from the sunlight. However, not everyone lives in an environment where you can spend so much time on the sun. Also, you don't want to get sunburned. So I highly recommend just supplementing with 10,000 IUs of vitamin D per day. This is going to get you all the IUs that you're going to need for the day in order to boost testosterone and generate as much as possible. Number 6, there is no reason why you should ever be drinking or eating processed sugar. I'm not saying that you should never do it ever again, but keep it to a very low and minimum. Sugars play their role. However, it is natural sugars, right? Like fruit juices, apples, or fruits, that kind of thing. Natural sugars. Processed sugars, there's no reason, there's no benefits to them at all unless you're running like a marathon or something like that. But just like alcohol, there is no benefit, there is no person in this life which will have a better life by having processed sugars and alcohol in their life as opposed to not. And I don't even have to go get deep into this. Alcohol is quite literally poison to your body. It affects your sleep quality, your deep sleep, your ability to get REM sleep, your ability to recover. It pretty much stops all muscle protein synthesis. I really don't want to get too much into it. Just keep it to a very low minimum. If you are a high drinker, I would keep it to maybe 1 or 2 drinks on the weekends, and that would be it. But optimally, completely cut it out. You don't need that. Number 7, this is one that I usually like to touch on because it also plays a very, very big role. Your body fat percentage. Unless you're getting to single digit body fat, which most people are not, there is no reason why you should carry on extra body fat. Extra body fat just gives your body the ability to, or encourages your body to generate more estrogen, which is the female hormone. You do not want this. You want to stay optimally between 10 to 15% body fat. Anything less than that might be a little bit too harsh for your body. It will affect your body to generate, your body's ability to generate and produce hormones effectively. Anything higher than that will just make your body too estrogenic. You'll start generating more estrogen. It'll combat your testosterone. You really don't want that. And the reason why I highlight having a lower body fat percentage, and I encourage more people to do so, even though having a very, very low body fat percentage can also have a toll on your body, is because most people are closer to higher percent body fat than lower percent body fat. I'm sure having a lower percent body fat is not going to be as much of a common issue as having a higher percent body fat, and I'm sure you guys can understand that. So stay between 10 to 15%. Usually for most men, being told to be leaner is usually going to be better for your overall body, your overall bodily functions, your ability to generate testosterone, your ability to move, to recover, to put on lean muscle mass, etc. Number 8, prioritize recovery. Not just in your sleep, but also in your rest days. I highly do not recommend to have just a rest day where you're completely sitting down at home, not doing anything apart from, just doing nothing. A rest day does not mean that you're sitting down at home, just watching Netflix because you're on a recovery day. You can still recover by having some kind of active recovery day. Maybe it's doing light cardio, maybe going out on a walk, maybe playing pickleball, playing tennis with your family. Those are the best ways to have active recovery days, and these will be more beneficial than just sitting down at home waiting to recover. it's just not good for you. So prioritize recovery at least 1 day per week. Optimally, for most people, less volume is better. So having 2 days per week on a 5-day training split will be better, especially for beginners, right? The more experienced you are, the more volume that you can take, the better that your body is able to recover. But yeah. Number 9, optimizing your environment. You know, plastics, plastic silverware, plastic plates, all that kind of stuff has shown to increase your I guess they're estrogenics. This is probably the most bro science part of the video. I'm not gonna lie, but there are a lot of gurus out there claiming that, you know, touching receipts, touching plastic, even the fabric in your clothes can have an effect on your body's ability to generate testosterone, because the more that you touch plastics, the more that your body is inclined to generate estrogen once again, and you really don't want that. So if you really want to optimize it, I would suggest doing this after you've done everything else. I would highly not suggest that you start off with this, because then you're just gonna look like a maniac. And number 10, this is a very, very, very important one as well. Compete and have healthy challenges with the men around you, your brothers, your family. Even right now, my dad, he is battling a very, very hard time, right? Not only is he getting closer to his 60s, so his body is changing a lot. He's getting to the male menopause, or whatever they want to call it. But essentially, his testosterone levels are taking a big toll. And us taking him to the gym, my brothers, all of that, is going to, I know for a fact, is going to increase his testosterone levels. Your body knows whenever it's around male competence, your body just being around that high testosterone kind of man is just encouraged, it's just inclined to generate more testosterone, which increases your motivation, your energy levels, your ability to create muscle. Everything is going to be enhanced by just having that healthy level of male competence. It's okay to, you know, have your life with girlfriend, mom, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you want to be spending your time around competitive males, whether that is your brothers, maybe friends, close friends, your dad, that kind of thing. An extra tip: if you sit for most of the day, that is very, very bad for your body. If you work at home like myself or remotely, you really want to stand up, get as much steps, get that step count up throughout the day. This is really going to have a high effect on your ability to generate testosterone as well. But yeah, guys, remember, testosterone is not only linked to muscle growth and your ability to look good. It's linked to energy, confidence, your male drive, sexual drive, libido, etc. So if you guys do want to take this to the next level, you can apply to work with me down below in the link in the description. And yeah, like, subscribe, tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.